Hey guys, welcome back. It has been a couple weeks. That is just due to the kind of person I am. If you're not aware, my name is Madeleine Klein, and I talk about all things Canadian, true crime, missing persons, mystery, and history. If you are Canadian or like true crime or both, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the Canadian madness you may not know about. Today I want to talk about a really important and high-profile case that is local to me in Regina, Saskatchewan. Today I'm going to talk about the murder of Misha Pavelick and the new developments on the now 17-year-old case. If you're from Regina or really anywhere in Saskatchewan, I am sure you're familiar with this historic and tragic case. I actually had a friend reach out to me a couple months ago asking me to talk about Misha. I don't know why I didn't, but I think that just goes to show that Misha's case is one that has been on the minds of many since it happened. Misha Pavlik was born on September 20th, 1986, and adopted by his parents Lorne and Susan at just 6 weeks old. He had an older sister, Kathleen, and was described as athletic, social, and very independent. This case starts all the way back on May Long weekend of 2006 when Misha was 19 years old. Misha attended a party at the Kanukama campground, which is just 2 minutes outside of Regina Beach, Saskatchewan. Kanukama is about 40 minutes outside of Regina, 20 minutes outside of Lumsden, and Lumsden would be the nearest RCMP detachment. In the early 2000s, it was a tradition then for a high school in Regina to have their grad party out at Kanukama every May Long weekend. This party was always big but regulated. In 2006, there were 121 people on the list with 11 chaperones. Yes, there was a list to get into this party. Like I said, there were chaperones and even security. Misha went out to Kanukama on Friday, May 19th, and would stay the whole weekend, returning home only once to change his clothes and talk briefly with his father. The last conversation the two would have would be Misha's dad asking him if it was safe out there and if everything was okay. Misha said, "Oh yeah, don't worry." The two exchanged "I love yous," and Misha went back out to the campground. At around 10 p.m. on Sunday, May 21st, a group of uninvited people showed up to the party. This same group had actually shown up at about 9 p.m. on Friday, but were denied entry as the grad party was only for one specific high school, as I have previously stated. They weren't on the list. Unfortunately, by Sunday, security measures had loosened quite a bit, so uninvited people were let onto the campground to join the party. By 11 p.m., just an hour after this group arrived, tension developed between the uninvited group and Misha and his friends. At 11:15, Misha and a male from the uninvited group got into an argument that started verbal but escalated to physical. People intervene and break up the altercation. 10 minutes later, at 11:25, another fight breaks out between Misha and numerous others of the uninvited group, and all hell breaks loose. The fights last only about 5 minutes, ending at 11:30, but during this, Misha and an 18-year-old friend of his, Derek, were both stabbed. 8 911 calls were placed about 2 males being seriously injured out at the Kanukama campground. One of the most heartbreaking details in this story is that in the midst of all of this happening, one of Misha's friends calls Misha's dad and tells him Misha has been stabbed. Misha's dad asked her to hold the phone up to his ear so that he could tell him he loved him. Police and EMS were dispatched, and they arrived to absolute carnage at the campground. People were screaming and running away and getting into cars and driving away. Remember, it's a campground on the prairies in the middle of May. It's dark out. The only light that they had on the campground was from a large bonfire. And there were some trees and bushes, but you really couldn't see much. Plus, there were about 200 people in attendance that night, almost all of them intoxicated teens, hysterical with what had just happened. When police and EMS arrived, people were performing CPR on Misha and his friend, who was also seriously injured. Medical personnel took over, but unfortunately, Misha was pronounced dead at the scene. He was transported to the Pasqua Hospital, and his friend was rushed to the Regina General Hospital for surgery, where he thankfully survived his injuries. Regina General is the trauma center, so that's why he was rushed there for surgery instead of the Pasqua. At 12:30 that morning, the RCMP Major Crimes Unit was contacted as it was quite obvious Misha's death was a homicide. In the following days and weeks, 170 people were interviewed. They did what they could on the scene for forensics and such, but when you have that many people in one place where alcohol is involved, no lighting, and a fight that happened so fast, you're going to get 170 different perspectives on what happened. Not to mention, the vast majority of the people present were young and scared. Although RCMP kept this case open and active all of these years, and there were of course rumors flying around about who did it and what happened, this case sat cold and there were no formal arrests made for the murder of Misha Pavlik until just last week. On June 27th, 2023, 17 years, 6,246 days later, formal charges are finally laid for the murder of Misha. A 34-year-old Regina man was arrested on June 24th for second-degree murder. He appeared in court on June 26th, and this amazing and shocking new development was announced on June 27th. But get this, the 34-year-old man who was arrested cannot be named, as he was 17 years old at the time of the crime and protected under the Youth Justice Act. He is also not currently being held in custody. He's scheduled to appear in Regina Provincial Youth Court on July 17th. If you live or have lived in Regina, you know it's a small city and people talk. I need to cover my own ass as I don't want to catch an obstruction of justice charge, but you can find a name. Search up some articles on Facebook or Reddit, and people have name dropped. Hell, even check the comments on this video. Someone may say something. All I can tell you is the name being thrown around right now is the same name that has been mentioned time and time again over the last 17 years. I'm just really hoping the judge decides to try this despicable piece of trash as an adult. He committed an adult crime and can be treated as such. And he has somehow gotten away with this for 17 years. How did taking someone's life not eat away at him all of these years? How could he stand it? Regardless, I hope he is prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and Misha's family and friends finally get answers and justice and somehow find peace and closure. As of right now, that's all we really know. As I said, July 17th is the next court date, and I will update when I can as more details emerge. This is such a high-profile case in Regina. I really hope our justice system doesn't fumble this one. The Youth Justice Act is such a joke. Anyway, that is it for me for today. I appreciate you being here. Please let me know your thoughts and feelings about this case. This one hits particularly close to home for me and a lot of people I know. But I am out for now, and I will catch you guys next week. Bye.